Today marks 11 years since the Marikana Massacre. On this day in 2012, police officers opened fire on striking mine workers at Marikana in the Northwest Province. Let's cross now to our reporter Sintleing Lehihi in Marikana to find out what the latest is there. Sintleing, good morning. We know, this day always a very somber one, not just in Marikana but across the country as we remember the events that unfolded on that day. But what can we expect today in terms of what is planned for the commemoration?
Good morning to you and our viewers. Indeed, the sun is rising here in Marikana, but there's a cold reminder of the bitter truth of the reality that unfolded here 11 years ago. A week that culminated in the death of 34 mine workers, which began also with the death of about 10 people, including security guards, police officers, and other mine workers. All of this beginning through wage disputes and workers demanding better living wages, better living conditions, and the tensions mounting there leading to this bloody massacre. We're expecting today quite a busy program to unfold, a keynote address from AMCU President Joseph Mathunjwa, and we're also expecting word from the survivors, those who are probably still living with bullets in their bodies, who have gone through cases in court, having to account for the deaths that came days before the killings of the 34 mine workers on this day 11 years ago. We're also expecting to hear from the families of those who lost their lives, just to hear from them how they've been coping. 11 years on, no one has taken serious responsibility. Nobody has been charged essentially for the death of the 34 mine workers, and life goes on. There's a lack of development. We've been here for a few hours since yesterday, in fact, and we've seen, speaking to community members here, that while there've been some developments in housing on the part of the mining company, we have seen no proper developments from many people still living in shacks and just sheer squalor and poverty being the order of the day here in this community. But let's have an insider's view on what this day represents, speaking to one of those who survived that fateful day, Xolani, who also himself faced some charges relating to the deaths of those who died the days before the Marikana Massacre. Let's take this moment to speak to Xolani. Xolani, on this day 11 years ago, you woke up this time together with many of your colleagues, not knowing that by sunset, 34 of you will not be here.
Police. Kule 11 years yonke. Kwela micala mandinokuba mandike ndibonge kubantu abakhona ukusinceda. Ku11 years. Ndihlele 11 years ndine case endinayo. Mari case yakho iphele nge10 kaMarch. Ndibulela nje amaloya esawafumana usukela ngo2012 swanikwa nge17 kaAugust swanikwa kuJulius Malema uAndres Nkome noadvocate Limpofu oMapule Kgetsi noMr Msimango Maluleka Msimango onhlahla kulo 11 years kule ndawo ndihlala kuyo ndisebenzela kuyo andikaboni into etshintshayo uba kukutshintsho elikhombisayo uba ugovernment ophetheyo eSouth Africa ukuprovela abantu ukuthi uyazisola ngezinto owazithethayo before kushona abantu, abonisa abantu uxolo lwakho ba wenza ntoni kule ndawo yaseVenerkop enkanini. Imanthi Marikana jikelele yonke akho tshintsho lenzileyo. Mawungajonga sisiwami ngoku kule ndawo sikuyo uyabona uba kunjani, akunandlela. Mawungena etown eMarikana akunandlela uhamba, imoto ziyalindana makunethi imvula uba makudlule enye kudlule enye. So siswami kule 11 years andikaboni into ilutshintsho. Utshintsho yalukhona sisi ebasebenzini. Ngokwendlela sasikhala ngayo entabeni sifuna u12,500 sesiudlulile singapha ya. Olotshintsho lwenziwa yiunion eAMCO ngokusifumana sihleli kulandaba. Nandiyimember eAMCO ke mnake. Kula Koppie sasihleli singabasebenzi bonke beloan me ngelo xesha elo. Singabasebenzi beloan me sasingathi lo ngoyunion ethile lo ngoyunion ethile. Ndajoyina iAMCO ngo2011. Landaba yethu singabasebenzi ababesebenza apha sifuna u12,500 kuphela. sasingayanga ukuyima kulaa ndaba sithi sifuna kungene i-AMCO. Sasifuna nje ukuthi masifumane imali engumrholo ongcono. Sibona imali esirholayo iphansi kakhulu ngokomsebenzi esisebenza underground. Kodwa i-union i-AMCO iyakwazi ukusimela, sirhola imali ebhetere ngoku.
Ngiyabonga Xolani. Words coming from one of the survivors, a description of better economic conditions for workers, but still adverse poverty here. From us here in Marikana, back to you in studio.
Well, thank you so much, Cynthia Nglehihi. And of course, you know, that speaks to our question of the day, listening to one of the people who was there, a survivor, and hearing his recollection and also how he feels that nothing has really changed. But that's what we're asking you about as well on X. Let us know your thoughts at Morning Live SABC.